Very good day, students. So in today's class, I welcome you for the sixth session of this destination planning class, in which we are going to discuss physical and psychological carrying capacity, which are two important types of carrying capacity. We are also going to discuss the economic, social, cultural, and environmental considerations, demand and supply match regarding the destination. So in the last class, in the last few classes, we have completed with destination sustainable development of destination planning at different level, international, national, state, local, city planning, and site planning. We have also discussed about the sustainable development of destination, in which we are going to use the natural and resources and man-made resources as per the availability at the destination, and we are also going to use it in a way which is we are also going to use it in a way which is available for the future generation also. So most of the energies which are related to natural, we try to renew it, we try to use the renewable energy, we try to move from inorganic to organic cultivation or organic practices at a destination. And following that, we had discussed that what is the carrying capacity. So today we are going to see in detail about the carrying capacity. Moving to the definition of carrying capacity, we can understand that it's an optimum level of facility development and visitor use that will avoid the environmental degradation. So basically, here we talk about the facility development. That means the facilities, type of facilities or services which are available at a destination for consideration of a tourist. It should be in such a way that the number of visitors who are visiting a particular destination, there should not be any mismatch between the demand and supply. That means if we should have a particular count of tourists or visitors who are coming to a particular destination, and as per the number of tourists, we shall be ready to cater the services. Until unless we are going to match this demand and supply, there will be a difficulty in serving to the tourist. We also know it as tourism carrying capacity, or in short TCC. It describes the number of people that a given destination can manage without negative impacts on the environment in terms of culture or economy, or maybe the environmental situations or the natural scenery or the natural structures which are which are present at a destination. So if we take example of any natural destination, any trekking places, we can see that there is a defined physical geographical area. There is a defined number of services. If we allow n number of tourists each day, it will be difficult for all the tourists to enjoy the services, and there may be long queue in availing the services also. So in this scenario, we see that the number of tourists will be overlapping the carrying capacity of the destination. So basically, if we have to measure the carrying capacity, we can say that at a particular destination with number of available services, if we are able to cater to a particular number of tourists or visitors, that will be called as carrying capacity. That means some destinations which are big, they may be able to handle 1,000 number of tourists each day. Some destinations which are very less or very short in number of geographical area, that may be able to cater only 100 number of tourists per day, or maybe 500 number of tourists per day. So here 500,000 or 100 can be called as the carrying capacity of a particular destination. Now we can think about carrying capacity in different ways also, not only in natural settings, but physical structures which are present, like number of ATMs, number of service providers, number of souvenir shops or accommodation units or hotels which are nearby the destination, or the transportation services. So for each and everything, there will be a carrying capacity on that particular day. So further, we see that whenever tourists will go on vacation, besides staying at their hotel, they go to see the sites. They go to use the public services. They may use the private transportation, and they buy in local stores, which all have their own carrying capacity. So here are the few examples of other services which may be available at a destination for which we need to have a measurement for the carrying capacity. Then only we will be able to satisfy the tourists as per the carrying capacity of the destination. So here we can easily understand what is the tourism carrying capacity with help of a picture. So there at a particular destination, there may be three systems basically. Destination as a system, that means it may have a destination features, natural features or man-made features. Then there will be internal and external influencers, that means attractions or the travel agents or the service providers or how people are getting influenced. Then third is tourism stakeholders. That means all the persons who are included, who are taking part in tourism business at a destination. So when we see that what is the capacity of the tourism stakeholders, what is the capacity of a destination, what is the capacity of internal and external influencers, after understanding the individual capacity of these three parties, we may be able to come to know that what is the carrying capacity of a particular destination for each day. So as per the carrying capacity, we will allow the number of tourists to visit a particular destination. For example, if we take example of Tirupati temple, there, if we have to visit the temple, we need to get the tickets booked online. So they have developed a kind of carrying capacity. They have developed a crowd management system through which they are able to allow particular number of tourists for a particular day, so that they can be able to manage the crowd. There should not be any negative situation or negative impact on the social, cultural, economic, environmental aspect to the particular destination. And when we talk about different types of destination, as I took example of a religious destination, if we take example of coastal destinations, islands, protected areas such as national parks, national reserves, rural areas for the sake of rural tourism, village tourism, mountain resorts and historical settlements. So these are the different example of tourism destinations. So for each type of destination, the points through which we are calculating the carrying capacity, it may be different. For example, if it is a coastal area, we may look for the different things. If it is an island, we may look for different parameters. If it is protected areas, we may look for different parameters. So for each type of tourism destination, the number of carrying capacity will differ, because if we see in the protected areas, there are least number of services available in a national park or national reserve park. So the number of carrying capacity will be very less. In rural areas, again, number of carrying capacity may be high, but since there also the public services will be limited in comparison to the urban areas, so number of tourists may be less visiting rural areas, though those who are able to accommodate in rural setting, they will prefer to visit these rural areas. So likewise, for different types of destination also, these tourism carrying capacity will differ. Now we are going into deep into learning about the two different types of carrying capacity, which are very much important a part of the other carrying capacity. For example, if we take, there are physical carrying capacity, psychological carrying capacity, social carrying capacity, cultural carrying capacity, environmental, economical. These are the different types of carrying capacity. So we will see one by one what are the important features of individual carrying capacity. First, we take physical carrying capacity. So by the name itself, it is very much clear that we are talking about carrying capacity of the physical structure which are present at a destination, such as infrastructure, buildings, number of hotels, number of service providers, or number of units where people can stay, people can have food, or maybe the transportation carrying capacity. Those entire thing will come under physical carrying capacity. It will refer to particular physical condition of a destination and its environment, which involves the conservation of these places and their local animal species. So it will also involve the non-living, living creatures also, that we should be allowing the number of tourists which should not be harmful for the plant species and animal species present at a destination, because all will be considered under physical carrying capacity. So how much number of tourists can be allowed to a particular day, which can be able to support to the destination? and the point at which a site can be viewed as overcrowded or congested and therefore requiring some management and control. So physical carrying capacity can be a particular point after which, if we are allowing the number of tourists, it may be considered as overcrowded. So sometime whenever we are visiting a destination, you might have felt that this place has become overcrowded, or during evenings, the tourist place may become overcrowded because a lot of tourists are traveling towards a destination or to a particular viewpoint during the evening, not during the afternoons. So there might be different time period also in a day, that what is the time in which number of tourists or number of footfall is very high. So we can easily say that what is the period which tourists will be more at a destination, and sometimes it may be less number at a destination. It can be often used as a managerial tool also, which defines a threshold beyond which environmental changes, disturbance, and problems may occur. So managers or destination development managers or state tourism department managers use the physical capacity as a tool to maintain the crowd or to manage the crowd also, so that it should not be harming the environmental changes or environmental setup. It should not disturb the local community. It should not disturb the animal species if they are around. Second, we will move on to the psychological carrying capacity. As I said that in tourism destination stakeholders, there are service providers. Along with them, the local community is also involved, because people will come from local community for the job at a local destination. They will open up their shop. They will sell the souvenirs. They will provide different types of local services. They may exhibit local social structure and cultural festivals, cultural structures, or maybe the particular attire at a local destination, or the living structure, how they are living, what kind of houses they have, what kind of paintings they are making. So there will be interaction between the local community and the tourist a lot. So here we see that how the interaction is going to be between these two parties, the local community and tourists, whether they are able to maintain a good relationship or not. If there is any kind of problem related to their understanding, social understanding or cultural understanding, or problems related to behavior between them, it may arise psychological problems. So it will refer to the maximum number of visitors for whom an area is able to provide a quality experience at one time. So if number of tourists are high, then the local community may not be able to welcome them or may not be able to provide them good services. For example, if we take agri-tourism, in that we see that limited number of homestays will be there with the farmers, so they cannot welcome more number of tourists than what they can cater. It will also relate to the interaction between the tourist and local community. It takes account of social and cultural factors, what kind of social cultural beliefs they are having, what kind of attire they are wearing, what kind of language they are using, and how they are interacting to the local community. It will also take account of language, their kind of clothes, what kind of practices they have, religious, spiritual, what kind of beliefs they have. So it all comes under psychological carrying capacity whenever we are talking about interaction of local community and tourists. Further, we have economic consideration, because whatever we are talking about destination development, the ultimate goal of the destination development is earning some kind of benefit through the tourism business. And this benefit will be shared by the local community, by the tourism stakeholders, and by the public and private parties who are investing their money. So they all will look for their own benefits. Economic benefits of tourism may include increased employment, income, foreign exchange, improved transportation facilities, and other infrastructure for tourism that residents also can utilize. So these are the activities through which we can generate some type of revenue, and it will engage the economic structure of the local community. It will also talk about the benefit of the local community. If at a tourism destination, if local community is not able to get benefit, then that particular destination cannot survive for longer duration of time. There has to be integrated and institutionalized socio-economic program that involves the government, private community, local community, and the religious sectors. It will be broad-based distribution of benefits among all stakeholders. So basically, in economic consideration, we look that the economic benefits should be shared by all tourism destination stakeholders. There should not be any biasness between the sharing the benefits. If there is any biasness, then the destination may come in danger or destination may not survive because there is an important role for each and every stakeholder at a tourism destination. Further, we have social considerations. It can be understood by steady employment avoids the underemployment and unemployment associated with the seasonal hiring for peak tourism periods. So whenever we are talking about development of tourism destination, we see that how it is going to benefit the local community's social structure, whether it is able to provide the employment to the local community or not, whether it can bring them from underemployment and unemployment to a level of good employment in a particular time period or not. If it is able to give them employment during the peak season only and not during the slow tourism season, then it may be a problem because people may not stay at a village or at their local destination because everybody needs to earn some money around the year. It's not good that they will earn money during the peak tourism periods and for other months of the year they will not earn any money. In that case, we may run short of the human being or human resources at a destination during peak tourism period. They may move towards other cities in the name of earning some kind of livelihood. Better employment opportunities than the low pay positions typically associated with the tourism services. So these things also need to be clear because we see that since tourism is an industry where unskilled and skilled both kind of people are available for providing the services, in that case they may be prone to get less amount of money or less wages per day. So it should not be happening at a tourism destination. Quality jobs that encourage the use of local knowledge, skills, traditions offer a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction to the residents. Here we mean to say that we need to fulfill the social gap between the local communities by providing the good quality jobs so that they all will be earning some kind of handsome money. Or at many places we see that government has a rule of low of minimum wages per day. So at least they should be earning more money than that. Improved standards of living and equitable distribution of benefits within and between the generations and the present and future. So the social consideration should be in such a way that there should be consideration for the future generation as well as the present generation in terms of distribution of the benefits at the end of day or end of the month for the service providers at a destination. Further, we have the cultural considerations in which we can see that, as I talked, that each and every tourism destination or each and every local community has their own culture. Properties, cultural considerations or cultural aspects are there which are very unique to them. And the tourists who are coming from different areas, they are also carrying some type of cultural assets with them or cultural qualities with them. So how they are going to interact with them, what kind of cultural shock they may receive or what kind of cultural differences they might find. The tourism activity involves contact between residents and visitors. Consequently, it may result in considerable cultural impact. So whenever cultural is different for tourists and for the local community, there might be some different types of impact. It may go into negative, it may go into positive directions also. Sometimes cultural may be welcomed by the both parties. Sometimes they may avoid to welcome the culture of each other. The tourist activities and the behavior should be respectful of cultural activities, sites and values. Whenever tourists are visiting to a particular destination, they should offer a respect towards the cultural activities, sites, values or cultural ethics or beliefs for the local community. Designs should be compatible with national and local heritage and character and should foster the community's identity or sense of the place. tourist types, activities should match the needs and expectation of the local people. So here what we mean to say that whatever the tourism operation we are designing or the tour operation we are designing, we should be designing in such a way that the local guides may be able to provide the different types of knowledge about the cultural ethics or cultural properties or the heritage properties at a destination. They should provide some kind of education or some kind of awareness to the tourists so that they should be able to offer the full respect to the cultural heritage of a particular place. Next, we see the environmental considerations which play a very much important role at a tourism destination. It means that maintenance of essential ecological process, biological diversity and non-renewable resources for future generations. It is very close to sustainable destination development if we see that how we are going to maintain the environmental or ecological process or ecological setup. We should be taking benefit of the environmental resources at a destination in such a way that it should be available for the future generations also. We need to plan at a scale and at a pace that enables effective and ongoing monitoring and mitigation of long-term impacts. So the scale of planning and the speed of planning should be in such a way that we shall look for the long-term impact of a tourism destination or long-term impact of using the natural resources at a destination, not only the short-term impact. Full cost accounting of environmental resources should be given into the cost benefit analysis, because nowadays the environmental accounting has come in picture at a tourism destinations. We are not only making the cost benefit analysis of the tourism resources, services or revenues, but we are taking account of the environmental accounting also, that what is the amount of natural resources being used, how we are going to renew it, or how we are going to add some better advancement to the natural resources so that future generations can also use it. An environmental and cumulative impact that analyzes important prerequisites to development and environmental management systems need to be implemented by the business and organizations. So we have a clear-cut developed EMS system, environmental management system, in which there are different types of parameters which destination development managers are looking at, so that how they can manage the environment in an orderly way. Further, we see that once we have done the carrying capacity, once we have come to know what is the carrying capacity, and if we have looked upon physical carrying capacity, psychological carrying capacity, social, cultural, economic, and environmental, now we have to see, along with the carrying capacity, what is the particular demand and supply at a tourism destination, how we can supply. Since we know the carrying capacity, now as per the carrying capacity, we need to be equipped ourselves with the supply. We need to have good suppliers, good tourism stakeholders who can fulfill the demand of number of particular tourists at number of particular destinations. So we will gather information on the things the way they are and on the potential available for desirable growth, that how many tourism stakeholders are ready to offer the services, wherever they will offer the services, what kind of services can be offered, and services can be designed in which way so that they can cater a particular number of tourists or visitors at a destination. We will record the information and development of statistics, therefore of utmost importance. We will have a record of entire information of the tourist and the resources available at a destination. The important initial steps in evaluating a potential for tourism development lives in determining the present status. So it is said that what is the current status of a particular destination, that is utmost important, and what may be in the future, like number of visitors or number of tourists may increase in future course of action or in future days also. So how we are going to be able to meet the demand in future, that also we need to discuss based upon the present resources which are available at a destination. So the current scenario assessment is very much necessary to forecast or to be able to cater to the tourists or visitors in the future. So we have to do an analysis of present structure of demand and supply in tourism is a precondition of any other estimate. So once we are able to have an estimation what is the current demand, what is the demand going on at present time. With that, we may be able to estimate the demand in the future also. So having an estimate of present carrying capacity on different terms, that is physical, physiological, social, psychological, environmental, cultural, and economical, is very essential. So we can have a estimation of carrying capacity on these different aspects in present time, and then we may be able to forecast the carrying capacity of the next year also. So based upon that, usually we make plans, or government will bring the plan, so that in future also, after 5 years also, they may be able to cater the number of increased tourists at a particular place. That will be the mantra for actual tourism development at a destination, and fulfilling the carrying capacity of the destination and the tourists also. So with this, we will stop here. And in the next class, we are going to discuss the unit 3rd with a new topic. Thank you very much for attending the class.